are very thin, and they need to be covered or painted because light will get through them and it will grow algae. I've decided to cover it with Reflectex, I think is what it's called. It's this stuff here. You can get them in any big box store. And I'm going to show you how I put it on it. The length of the pipe is 10 foot, so I cut 11 so I can wrap the end over. Just more for appearance because the ends are thicker. And then I folded it directly in half so I could do 2 pipes. I hope to get pretty good coverage with it. Also should help with sun penetration. And possibly the reflective surface could deter bugs. Anyway, that's my hope. Just used a pair of scissors to cut it in half all the way down. I actually folded it in half and stepped on the edge so I can kind of see where to cut. But the insulation, this is actually a form of insulation. That's where you find it too, an insulation aisle. But it should provide some protection to keep the nutrient water from getting too hot or cold, depending on the time of year. Now I'm using my chop saw to cut off 6-inch pieces from another piece of pipe. Same pipe, 6 inches, and they're 6 inches in length. So before I wash this, I need to figure out how much of it to cut off to where I put it over this pipe and it pulls out a little bit and snaps on. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to be able to pull it off and get the roots of a tomato or a pepper, whatever, out easily. Yet I'll be able to take the snap piece and drill a 1-inch hole in it, and I'll be able to grow the actual plant in a little bitty 1-inch net cup and then snap it over in place here. This first one is going to be a template. It's the one I'm going to copy when I make the others. So I'm going to start out with removing a smaller piece of material, and I'll keep removing to where I get a good snap. It's easy to snap into place, but it holds really well. And I'll keep removing material until I get that. Now I'm taking a piece of 1x4 here and I'm tilting it slightly sideways. I'll take a pencil here and I'll just run it against here to create a straight line, and I'll cut it with my Dremel tool. So there's the first line, and the second one is right here. And so when you look at it, they are, let me get my fingers in place here. I'm removing that much material, which is above my fingers. That leaves the majority, hopefully enough to snap into place. I think I'm safe in removing that much material at first. If that doesn't work, I'll add more. I'll remove more coming down further. So I think that was pretty much perfect first shot out of the gate. And it went across that like that, and it's not real easy, but pretty dang easy to get back up. There you go. That'll do it. So now I have this one to use as a template. I just take the pencil and I mark on the other tubes that are 6 inches and just make my cuts. Real easy. Now I'm going to wash it. I'm going to clean up the edges so they're not sharp, so I don't cut myself on the edges here and here. Alright, I've taken the template and I've just laid it over the pipe. And all I have to do is draw a line with the pencil, snap this off, put it on another one like I did here. And then I'm just ready to use my little Dremel tool here. It's got a plastic cutting disc on it, and just whip it right off. These little cutouts I made, there's going to be a 1-inch net cup drilled into it, and that's what the plant's going to go in. You can see here on the end I have a Velcro strap. These are really inexpensive. I actually had that, and that way I can just take it off and then remove this. These are holding this down, so there's no need to glue or tape it, and there'll be one every 12 inches. Right now it's just set up for display. So that's how I'm going to keep it down. Another thing I'm going to show you next is how I'm going to, because plants need support, I'm going to show you my plant support design. So I'm going to fix it to the caps, or whatever you want to call these, the covers. And this way, when I remove this, the support will also be removed. removed, or it can be put in place, or it can be flipped around to either side of the tube. This is a PEX, half-inch PEX clip. I'm going to affix it to this. I'm going to put this behind it using a screw to go through this and affix it to the back to give it support. That way I can snap a piece of PEX tubing in it of any length and it'll be the stability for the plant. There's the backing. It provides some support across a bigger area because this is pretty thin. You'll notice that the screw is a little big. Now, I don't want it poking out, so I'm going to cut that off, but one could just buy the correct length screw. And yep, this is pretty darn stable, so which is what I was hoping for. So I put one of these here and I put one on the other side. It creates a little bit of tension here, and I just took a razor knife and I cut it out there. Then I drilled a hole in here that's pretty much center. And of course, you may have seen me fix this, and that's pretty good on there. So the thing is, I should be able to run a pipe down to the floor. It'll be snapped into here, and it'll rise up, and I can affix the plant to it. That's the plan. Now I need to finish them up all along the pipe here, so I can get stuff growing. So I've got some spare wood, leftover wood from doing the deck. And what I did was I took a piece of the pipe here and I put it on here because I need to create supports that will keep the PVC pipe from twisting. So the best thing to do is obviously trace it onto the board. So I put it 1 inch from the bottom here, and I spaced the two tracings here 12 inches apart, 1 foot apart. So now I need to cut it with a jigsaw, and that'll be my support. Now that I've got one done, it becomes my template. All I got to do is put it on this piece of wood, line up the end, draw, cut. That's it. I'm going to do it with all these now. So I've cut the insulation, I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, I cut this. I cut the hole bigger, obviously, because the purpose of creating these to begin with is so that we could pull it off and remove the plant roots easily enough. And this should do more than fine. And then I'll simply put this over it. I did it right here one-handed. Just like that, and then the 1 inch neck cup goes right in there. This first grow tube doesn't need plant supports because it's going to be nothing but tomatoes closest to the greenhouse wall, and so these tomatoes are going to be strung up. These are going to be more for things like peppers, eggplants, squash, or anything else really that grows more compact, like maybe even a dwarf tomato. So I'm going to redo these, not redo them, I'm going to put 4 that don't have these attachments on them like the rest of them down there. There it is in the room now, roughed in as I call it. I think it's going to be too wide for me, so what I may end up doing here is actually cutting and making each tube their own support. That way I can move it closer or further apart. And yeah, I decided here while I'm recording that's what I'm going to do. But that's what it looks like for now. Late afternoon, actually early evening. And more to come. I need to get the plants in there. This is my grow tube control box. And this is going to control all the operations of what happens with the grow tubes.